Nope. I don't know what this is. I don't know what sound people could possibly be hearing right now.
I don't think any. Oh, hang on. It's
I
working.
don't know what sound people could possibly be hearing right now. I don't know what mic that is. It's not this one.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't think any.
Like when I tap this, it doesn't move.
I don't know what sound people could possibly be hearing right now.
I don't know what mic that is. It's
We're into the loop. Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't think any.
Like when I tap this, it doesn't move. I don't know what sound. Hi, everybody.
We think you can hear us.
Hello, viewers. Please let us know if you have any audio problems. Jeremy's going to be have his eyes glued to the comments section.
Hang on, I lost the comment section.
That's okay. We have to do the introductions anyway. Welcome to episode number 20 of Bourbon Zeppelins. I am one of your hosts, David.
I'm Jeremy. Your mom found us.
Oh, good. Can she hear? Mom, can you hear us?
Technical problems tonight? Oh, I think she's probably referring to us talking about the mic and.
Oh, maybe. I don't know if we're having technical problems or not. Now I'm shouting because I don't think the microphone works.
She hears us.
Good. Okay. Whatever. Then let's just do that then. I'm just gonna use whatever mic is currently being
A mic
used.
somewhere here is picking us up.
I'm just tapping on things with microphones right now, trying to figure out. Okay, I legit don't know. I don't know what microphone is recording us right now, but that's fine.
At least we work in technology.
Yeah, I had sound earlier, and then I was like just 2 minutes before showtime, noticed that the sound bar on the mixer, on our little virtual mixer in OBS, not moving when we talk.
There we go.
Anyways, it's been a week.
It's been a week.
It's been a very busy week in the world of news and current events and stuff like that.
I haven't been able to pay attention to any of it.
Then this is going to be a real one-sided conversation tonight.
Oh no, I'll make up my side.
Okay, that's fair.
We'll still
while you're doing that, did you do anything interesting in the past 7 days?
I did, and this time I remember it.
Oh, excellent. Aren't you glad I remembered to ask you?
And I dread it every week because I never remember what I do for the week. I get to Wednesday, I'm like, I'm here, and I know 7 days have passed. But this last week, Friday, it's been a gong show week. So Friday afternoon, the plan was that. Sorry, Friday morning. The plan was that Saturday morning I was going to be flying up to Slave Lake, where they were doing their annual sled drag races. So snowmobile sled drag racing down the lake. And,
oh, nice.
And we were going to give helicopter rides around at that big event. Thursday afternoon, I got tapped by one of the flight instructors to say, hey, let's start your new type rating. So for those of you who don't know, I'm, among a couple of other things, a helicopter pilot. Working.
Jeremy just hates having free time.
I just like to fill things up. So I'm getting taught how to fly a new model of helicopter that I haven't flown before. So I went out with the flight instructor. And by the way, this is the first time I've flown a helicopter in about 14 years. 13, 14 years.
I hear it's like riding a bike.
I was hoping so. And there is some muscle memory to it because
I've never heard that, by the way.
I was legitimately nervous. I got in and the instructor's like, okay, why don't you take off? I'm like, nope. We're not going to end this before it starts. Yeah. I'm like, let's get into it a little bit, because legitimately learning to hover a helicopter is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Both hands, both feet have to be doing multiple things all at once, all in a coordinated fashion. But as it turns out, I can still fly. It was a little rustier than I wanted it to be, but I still remember how to fly a helicopter. And I knew how to fly this one that I'd never flown before, which they operate the same. But anyway,
I assume there's some carryover from helicopter to helicopter.
yeah. But I'm having not flown in forever.
Yeah.
A new one.
To be
like,
fair.
So if you imagine like you've never like driven a standard vehicle for
I can
like
remember that.
12 years, and then you just hop in and you have to like figure out where that clutch is. You know roughly how it works, but you have to get used to a new clutch. This is like 100 times more herky-jerky rusty than that. But yeah, it worked out.
That's basically how I learned how to drive a standard.
Herky-jerky?
Yeah, so I couldn't drive a standard, but I really wanted one. But my stepdad could drive a standard, so when we were test driving cars, he had to test drive all the cars for me.
Yeah.
And then he drove it home, and then he sort of showed me how a standard works, and then I had to get to work the next day.
And hopefully there aren't too many stop signs and stoplights.
It wasn't a long drive. It was maybe a 10-minute drive, but you know, a couple lights. So,
Couple lights. Did you solid any of them? Do you remember?
Yeah, probably. I feel like I did. I was never a real big gear grinder until recently. Now that I've been driving a standard for coming on 20 years,
Get a little lazy at it, and
yeah. Sometimes I just like, this is a real easy shit. Just like,
my foot's mostly in.
Oh, that was embarrassing. Everyone downtown turns and stares at you.
Who's the newbie?
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, St. Patrick's Day. Did you pretend to be Irish on the weekend?
No, because I had to go fly out and I had to be sober because people don't like drunk pilots.
That's not even what I meant, but okay. I like that you took it to just alcoholism. Racist. Did you wear green?
I did.
Did you pinch people who didn't wear green?
No.
No. Did you listen to any
No.
Dropkick Murphys or Pogues?
No.
House of Pain?
No.
Flogging Molly?
Busy the whole day.
I downloaded the essential Dropkick Murphys from Apple Music, so I could listen to that.
That would be a good day. Yeah. And legitimately, like, I've been trying for the last, 5 years to schedule St. Patrick's Day where I could go and have, Irish breakfast and just, hang out in a pub all day. And this year it fell on a Saturday. I'm like, perfect. You know, family's fine. Don't need them.
It only happens one every 666 years, according to Facebook.
Oh, no. Now I'm going to be old the next time this happens.
Good news. You were old this time.
That's true, too. Yeah, and I thought I was in the clear, and then the last minute I got scheduled. I had to go up to Slave Lake and do all this stuff. So
I had some Guinnesses and some Guinness stew.
Some Guinness?
Yep, or Guinnesses is also acceptable.
It's
Is like
Guinness
octopus.
acceptable? No, there's...
You can say octopi or octopuses.
No, only one is correct.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm right.
No, they're both right.
Also, why is my webcam on?
I don't know. Maybe that's where we're getting out that we're not getting sound from that. Because your computer's not attached to this. And then I had so obviously I drink bourbon, but I had Irish whiskey for the first time ever.
It's fantastic.
It's great. We should change the name of the show.
The Irish whiskey and Zeppelins?
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be like, "What's an Irish Zeppelin?"
Irish Zeppelins.
No, but I really like it, and
It's great. Jameson?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Jameson's
it's
wonderful.
cheap comparatively, compared to what I pay for bourbon. Not that bourbon's really expensive, but
What's Jameson go for right now?
well, we got it at the Superstore liquor store for $28, 29, and most of the bourbon I drink is about $10 more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a sale because it's the weekend. To be honest,
Irish
with you.
whiskey? Way cheaper than Scotch.
Yeah, well, everything's cheaper than Scotch.
Order
Scotch
of magnitude's cheaper than Scotch.
Although, so I was looking at the Wine and Beyond website. I was like, oh, what other Irish whiskeys are there? If you sort that by price, they have a bottle on there for
Irish
$4,800 or something like that. Maybe that. Well, I might be wrong about that. I might be making that up. I was somewhere.
The IrishWhiskeyExchange.com. Who knew? Look at that.
But yeah, so now I want to try other Irish whiskeys.
I like that the IrishWhiskeyExchange.com automatically sorts it by price, starting with the cheapest.
Yeah. That's how you get into drinking Irish whiskey or any
Hey,
whiskey.
there's a 1,000-pound bottle of Irish whiskey.
It's got to be more expensive. than
Well,
that.
not on the
No,
Irish
not
Whiskey
on-
Exchange.
No.
Or the Whiskey Exchange. Huh.
Anywho,
Oh, I
if
feel
you've
like
never
we
tried
could go
Irish
good.
whiskey, I highly recommend it.
All right.
I'm going to buy some more Jameson for the weekend, I think.
For the bathtub.
Trying to think if I have anything going on this weekend that I don't need to be full of whiskey for. I have to go clothes shopping. All my clothes are too big now.
You have to be full of whiskey for that.
Oh, I don't know if I want to be actually full of whiskey for that.
I would be intrigued to see your choices.
Oh, they'd be great.
They'd be great.
They'd be great. All my choices are always great.
They're often great. Let's
all right. Wow, throwing shade. Okay, so let's get into the show proper. If I can remember, we have a new layout for those of you who didn't notice.
Isn't it pretty?
Jeremy really likes it. It took me all the hour before the show started to do it.
So we definitely didn't prepare for the show.
Nope. And we are changing the name of the news segment because I liked it last week when I said we should just call it The Gist.
The gist?
The Gist. Because that is all we ever know about things is we get the gist of news stories.
That's true. Hey, what? You added stuff.
Nope.
I tried to prepare. We're talking about guns?
Well, I was going to give you the option. Did you want to talk about guns first or guns last?
Well, I was going to just mention, because you posted earlier to our Bourbon Zeppelins page about this is the 17th shooting of the year.
Yeah.
There is some, so...
That was confirmed school shooting of the year.
Right. Have you seen a list of those 17?
No.
Because I don't want to like dive into it right now, but the right side of the art, I don't know if it's categorically the right, the typically right pro gun people,
Yeah.
point out when people say there have been 17 shootings this year, they point out that a lot of those are maybe not what you would normally classify as school shootings.
I did go on to Wikipedia because I wanted to see. I was actually trying to find out how many school shootings there were last year to see what the total was because I, extrapolated and we're on pace for 74 this year or something like that.
Right.
In the States. But on Wikipedia, if
See
you
if
just
we can
look
beat
at
our high score.
Yeah. But if you go on Wikipedia, they only have like 12 listed for the year as school shootings. So I don't. And then I was just like confused by it, and then I stopped looking because I'd already posted that other thing. So
because we'd already said something, so we
yeah,
definitely
so I
can't
was just
change
like,
our
I don't
story.
know, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and so my point is that I just wanted to point out that the opposite side of the argument about like there are a million school shootings every year are that depends what you classify as school shooting. Like for one, I think if I remember right, and this is why we just call it the gist because it might not be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
One, if I remember right, was a guy on school property committed suicide with a gun. So is that a school shooting? Like there was a gun shot on school property and someone died.
That's interesting. That actually does bring me to what I wanted to talk. So there's a couple things
good.
I wanted to talk about.
I'm getting us to where we need to go.
With guns. Last Wednesday they had one of the walkouts, one of the school walkouts.
Yeah.
We discussed it really briefly. We touched on it. And later that day, or no, it was actually earlier that day, but I just didn't talk about it last week. There was a guy on a forum that I frequent who posted a thing saying, there was a school walkout today. My kid was not included. He basically forbade his daughter from walking out and joining the protest. And of course, his daughter is not real happy about this because
She wanted to walk out?
She wanted to walk
Okay.
out, and he basically said, "No, I don't want you doing that," because he feels that the people who had organized the walks, and I guess, and I don't know, I'm not 100% sure about this, it looks like it was organized by the same people from Women's March. So he felt that the kids were being used as political pawns, and they were being asked to walk out by a group who were sort of trying to take advantage of these kids and sort of, I don't know, brainwash them to march for women or something. I don't exactly know what his argument was. Because the march very clearly was delineated, was defined that day as we are walking out because we want to see a change with how guns are handled in the States. At least that's my take on it. I don't know if, that's the messaging I was getting from all of it. Right? Guns are bad, kids are getting shot, we need to do something about it. Let's walk out and protest, right? Because we are the future and we're the ones getting shot, so So, let's say that this guy's 100% right, and it was women, like the people who organized the Women's March, or were the people that organized this walkout. Does that matter? Do you think the kids were betrayed somehow or tricked?
Well, I don't know. And to further add more dimensions to that, there were plenty of kids who walked out and went, well, there were reports of kids who walked out and went and vandalized stuff. Yeah. So definitely people weren't all marching for a specific cause. There were people that were walking out and hey, let's go to the arcade.
7-Eleven,
yeah, right. I feel like if I was in high school and there was a march like that, especially if it's not at the school where something like that happened, if it wasn't at the Florida school,
you don't feel as though it touched you directly in any way. And
I'm just saying I'm using any excuse I can to not be in class.
Yeah, sure, I get that.
So I think there's kids that
you're bound to get that in any large group, though, right?
Right. So were they tricked? I don't think they were tricked, because if they're walking out and they're walking out with an idea in their head, mm-hmm. they're walking out for that purpose.
Right.
Do they necessarily have to identify with the group? And this I think is one of the main root causes of the problems with the world today, is that people conflate individual purpose with group ideology. And where they do things because there's a larger group ideology, they just follow the group. Mm-hmm. And they adopt that as their personal cause.
Okay.
And I think people need to more often. It's fine if your own cause aligns with the group ideology. Mm-hmm. By all means, support the group and go along with that. But if your personal beliefs and your personal mindset and your personal identity can't be defined, mm-hmm. what's the point, right? Do something because it's what you believe in, not because you're just following.
So for the kids that walked out,
where I was going.
Okay, yeah, you sort of lost me there a little bit. So basically what you're saying is the kids that walked out because they wanted to protest gun laws or gun violence or whatever, or try to get people to think about gun reform in the States. Mm-hmm. They weren't bamboozled by a third party.
I don't think so. I think they might have been, in some case, their actions, their walking out might have been used.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I never heard anything, and to be fair, I wasn't watching tons of news about it that day.
I wasn't really either, so I don't know if anything came of it.
Yeah, so I didn't hear anything about anyone saying, oh, this was, I didn't hear anyone from the Women's March saying that this is somehow representative of people supporting their normal cause, right?
Yeah.
I didn't hear anyone twisting that.
No one sort of co-opted the...
Right, I never heard that. In terms of reaction or things that happened, I just basically heard people, a lot of politicians talking about how kids aren't in politics because they're kids, so why would we listen to them? I think it was I'm paraphrasing a bunch of different people. I think it was Marco Rubio said that if we don't allow kids to buy guns, so why should we listen to them about the laws with it or whatever?
Why should we let them make policy?
Yeah, and then Trevor Noah, did you see what Trevor Noah was? It was like a meme on Facebook. So Trevor Noah basically replied, he said, people who are being kids are being shot by guns, and they're allowed to have an opinion about who gets to get shot or whatever, right? Like
Something
along those lines.
Which, and
he's much funnier than I am, and I actually read his joke before. So.
Which I agree with both sides, actually, here. Just because you're the one that's being affected by it doesn't mean that you're the one that knows how to fix the problem.
That's true, but I don't think anyone in the States has proven how to fix this problem.
That's true too. But I mean, if I go into the doctor and am like, man, I've got like this stabbing pain in my side, I think you need to do this. Well, I'm the one being affected, so I get to decide how I get treated.
Well, people ultimately do, though, right?
And how does that turn out for them?
Well, it depends. Honestly, it does depend. So,
yeah,
because I have a personal connection to basically self-diagnosis, where a doctor couldn't figure out a diagnosis,
right?
And then my mom did, right? And that worked out well because we figured out what was going on,
right?
But yeah, sure, there are tons of times where someone's like there was that dude in Alberta whose daughter died from meningitis because they decided they weren't going to treat their daughter, they weren't going to vaccinate her, or whatever it was.
The
point is, you're right. Quite often,
and this is why I agree with both sides. Is I'm the one being affected. I should have input into my treatment. I should have input into how, what's going on with gun control. But I shouldn't have the only say.
Oh, sure.
Same thing with in the student shooting thing. Sure. Students definitely should have a voice there. Everybody should have a voice.
I would say that Marco Rubio and the other people who are sort of disagreeing, I think they just set up a straw man, because I don't really hear people saying, oh, the kids should be making the decisions. It's just like, look, these kids are getting shot and they're angry, and we should take their thoughts into consideration. Of course, people from the left are really pushing it. They're like, listen to the children. How can you say no to a child? Right? Like, I get there's some political spin going on here
on both sides, right? Like,
the
left is we have to they're the ones being shot. They must have the solution. They must have the answer. They know best.
That's probably why they're getting shot. Is because they know how to solve the gun problem. That's my
not
theory.
Entirely untrue.
To put my tinfoil hat on. And the answers are inside their brains.
And the problem for the right, of course, is they're kids, they don't know anything. Well,
that's what old fogies on the right say all the time.
Dumb people everywhere.
So another extension of this argument that I'd never really encountered this before. I think I'd sort of seen it once, but a lot of pro-gun guys, they look at the gun violence statistics that are often touted. And this is sort of was related to what you were talking about before, where you're saying, not every school shooting is what we consider to be a school shooting.
Right.
But they were saying that the gun violence statistics that the left trots out, they should discount suicides and accidental shootings, and it should only be homicide. And so I got into an argument with this guy. Because I do not agree with them.
I absolutely don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't agree with that is that people still die in suicides.
Right. So he seemed to think, and this was sort of because I typed out a reply, and then I edited it, and I missed one sentence. And he took that one sentence out of context from the rest. Like, within context, it did make sense what I was saying. So my argument that I was trying to make was that if guns didn't exist,
right,
suicide rates would be lower.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to count it in the gun violence statistic. And what I had the sentence I didn't change was, suicides are related to gun violence. So he was showing me statistics where there's like places with very low gun violence and very high numbers of suicides. And I was like, I don't know why you're showing me this, because I'm talking about like successful suicides, right? So you're showing me that in Japan, more people just want to kill themselves than they do in the States, right? Not that if they had guns, that number wouldn't be higher.
That number would be way higher in Japan if there were guns in Japan.
Yeah, and I don't understand. Like, he didn't really come back to me about the accidental shooting thing. I don't understand why that wouldn't be part of that statistic, right? Like, those are
Right.
identifiably avoidable deaths, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's lots of statistics around suicide that show that if you attempt suicide, you are like 90% more successful if you're attempting it with a gun than.
Yeah. Plus, suicides tend to be suicidal ideation tends to be transient, so it's like a short-term feeling.
Yeah.
So if you have a gun here and you feel suicidal, you pick it up and you try to commit suicide, maybe, right?
And it often works.
And then other stuff, maybe you have to go to the store and buy a bunch of sleeping pills, and then someone sees you buying 10 things of sleeping pills, and then they call somebody, right? And
Even
then you get help. Like things like that happen,
Yeah.
right? So anyways, it's clear, but this guy, even after I cleared up my point, which I'd cleared up 4 or 5 times, not realizing that he was focusing on one sentence out of context, and this was my problem with this particular fella on the right, and other, I think, we'll say rabid pro-gunners, they're just unwilling to give up anything in their fight to keep their guns, right? Like, he was unwilling to admit that if there were no guns, there would be less suicides. Probably. Like, that is a reasonable assumption, right? Like, I can't prove that, but I think that is a reasonable assumption.
I think you actually can prove that.
Well, I don't know that I could have proved it to his particular satisfaction, because he would have wanted me. Actually, we might be able to, because I was thinking about this afterwards. If we look at the suicide rate in Australia before and after their gun ban, I'd be curious to see if that number went down, because there's actually a country where they banned guns, so we can see. And then I never followed up on that thought, and I forgot about it until right now. So Jeremy's gonna Google it, I think. Yep. And then we can discuss that. One thing I do want to bring up while Jeremy's doing that is a few weeks ago I was talking about the walkouts, and one of the dates that they picked was April 20th, and I was sort of flabbergasted at the time as to why they would pick April 20th. Like, why 420? Because that is like the pot day, and they're just handing the right ammunition to make them look like idiots for walking out on, like, oh, they're just a bunch of lazy stoners who want time off to go smoke their pot. It occurred to me the day after why they picked that day, and then I just forgot to talk about it till now. Do you know why? Do you know the significance of April 20th? Now think about in terms of gun violence.
Nope.
Columbine.
Seriously?
Yes, Columbine was April 20th. I'm assuming all the days that they picked were other school shootings. And then, we didn't even talk about this. There was a school shooting on Monday. The Maryland shooting. That's the one that I posted about.
Oh, yeah.
On our page. So that one, no kids. The shooter died, but none of the kids in the school died. He was shot.
Oh, he shot 2.
Yeah, but they didn't die.
And they didn't die. Okay.
Yeah, and then he got shot by the armed resource officer. So now it's...
Oh, so one actually went into the school and didn't wait outside for him to finish his...
Right. My understanding with that, I thought you told me this, was...
On the Florida case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that guy was actually doing what he was instructed to do, because he was under the impression that the shooter was outside of the school. And so he was...
It wasn't me that said that. I have no idea what...
I don't know who told me that. But
what the nonsense about all of...
Yeah, so I'm not 100%, like, again, we just have the gist of it.
Never mind getting to the bottom of anything.
This is really why this is the best named segment we have.
Okay, sort of crystal ball's pretty good.
Yes. Yes, that's the best one that's alliterative. So my understanding is he was actually doing it right, where he was outside of the school looking for the shooter that he was told was outside of the school. It didn't make sense for him to go inside. Now, I don't know, obviously, if that's 100% true.
I'm skeptical, because he would have heard where the shots were coming from pretty clearly.
Potentially. Like, and I've also heard I've heard like contradicting things. So it's
a
difficult
mess
to
of
say.
people who are trying to save their.
But it sounds like they should have
lives.
just had Donald Trump as the school resource officer there, because he would have gone in guns blazing.
Excellent.
Says the draft dodger.
No. Oh, yeah.
No lack of irony there. So that was all the gun stuff I wanted to talk about. Any gun
Jeremiah mentioned that on Tuesday the officer also happened to be a SWAT team member.
stuff? Oh yes, also that guy is an ex-SWAT, or maybe current, but
In any case, had like good training in like
Yeah.
confrontational, combative situations.
I also, I can't remember if we talked about this or not. I can never remember who I have conversations with anymore. There was the accidental shooting a couple weeks ago. It was like a teacher.
Yeah.
And that guy was like a reserve police officer. Like that guy was trained how to use a gun. Oh yeah, we did have this conversation. I remember having this conversation with you now. But yeah, anyways. So just because you're a trained cop doesn't mean you might not
Accidentally
shoot somebody.
So, which.
And that's not even the first time
I did.
There's a classic video of a guy, I think he's like in the DEA, and he's like doing a talk with a class
Yes.
from like, I don't know, a decade ago or something.
And
he holsters his gun and shoots himself in the leg in front of everybody.
I think we've got lots of evidence that if we want fewer shootings, more guns is the solution.
Yeah. It's just, if you think about it, that's what makes the most sense.
It seems. Oh, I just. Oh.
Okay. So now the big story. The big news of the last few days.
Which I hadn't heard about until tonight. I was going through our show notes.
Which terrified me, because I sit down and Jeremy's like, what is this? And I'm like,
Who's Cambridge Analytica?
what are you talking about? So this is the Cambridge Analytica story.
This is a very scary company.
This is the delete Facebook thing, if you've been hearing that, and we should maybe talk about delete Facebook. But
You know we're on Facebook right
I am
now.
aware of that, which is why I think we should talk about it.
That probably makes good sense.
So Cambridge Analytica, for those of you who don't know the story, I'll give you a real high-level overview best I can here.
Here's the Wikipedia to them.
Yeah, we'll post the Wikipedia so you can read that. But basically, they got in trouble for a couple different things. So back when Trump started his presidential campaign, there was a time where he wasn't doing that well, very early on, and they were running out of campaign money. And so a couple of rich people, the Mercers, a guy, I think it's Bob Mercer and his daughter Rebecca, they decided they were going to front Trump's campaign a bunch of money on the caveat that they hired Cambridge Analytica.
Is this verified?
This is all true.
Okay.
So Cambridge Analytica, one of its founders is, or sorry, not one. I don't know if he's one of the founders. So I guess he was a former vice president at the very least. Was Steve Bannon, who wound up
Cambridge Analytica?
Yes.
This is the greatest story time ever.
Yeah. So Steve Bannon went on to become the campaign manager. Thank you. I was like, leader? That's not right. The campaign manager for Trump. And then later everyone joked about how he was the actual president. And then Trump got all bent out of shape about that. And I mean, you could say that about anything. This happened, and then Trump got all bent out of shape about it. And then he wound up turfing Bannon not too long ago. But they got in trouble. Cambridge Analytica got in trouble a little while ago. They got their whistle blown by a guy that worked there, whose name completely escapes me. Chris, something with a W.
Chris. You know Chris.
Chris with a W. If you could find the whistleblower, the name of the whistleblower, that'd be great, because he deserves
Wiley.
to have his name known. Chris Wiley. He is He noticed.
That might be wrong.
No, it's Chris Wiley. I would know the name to hear him. It's
Okay.
definitely Chris Wiley. You should find a picture of him. He does.
And it's Christopher.
Christopher Wiley. He went to The Guardian, I believe, in the UK, and was like, hey, Cambridge Analytica has done some bad things with some data that they shouldn't have.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah. So he... so Cambridge Analytica wanted a bunch of data to mine to help with the Trump campaign. So they found another guy. Horvath. I need you to Google this other guy's name, the researcher, who they got the name. I hope it's Hor something. Maybe it's not. Anyway, so this other guy's an academic. He's writing a book on Facebook, and so he's got a bunch of access to Facebook and their data. And so Cambridge Analytica was like, we want all the data you can get. And so he applied to Facebook. Cambridge Analytica paid for the data. And he wrote a little quiz. It's a little application. If you ever played a game or done anything on Facebook, you've done something like this. And it was just like a personality quiz. And you would fill it out, and it would... So not only was this guy getting your answers from the quiz, he was getting all of your metadata. So everything you've entered into Facebook, he's got access to all that. You had to authorize the app to do that. And please, for all of my friends who fill out quizzes like, what potato do I look like? Who's your favorite Harry Potter character? Whatever it happens to be.
I look like the Pope Potato.
The Pope Potato. The Pope Potato.
The Pope Potato.
They always ask you to authorize the app. When you do that, you are giving it permission to access your information. FYI. So, but what this one did was it accessed all of your information, and then it accessed all of the information of that person's friends who had bad privacy setups on Facebook. So for those of you who maybe have never looked at your privacy settings, it's very possible that you are, in all likelihood, wide open, and you may have been swept up in this. So apparently
I've always wanted to be swept up.
Yeah, apparently they gave this quiz to, I've heard different numbers by a magnitude of 10, to be honest with you. I've heard it was either 27,000 or 270,000. Either way, at the end of 1 month, they had Facebook profiles of 50 million users. And this is with personally identifiable information, like names and jobs and addresses, all that stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to pump the brakes for just a second and say, what danger is that to me? Let's just...
Well, by itself, kind of nothing. But this goes into what happened. So the danger is exactly what Cambridge Analytica did with it.
Right.
So Facebook has a rule where if you're getting this data, you can't use it for commercial purposes. You can only use it for academic stuff. And the reason is, so if you're on Google, you've got a bunch of stuff on Google. You're deep into the Google ecosystem like myself.
Yep.
Right? So you search for something and then you start getting ads that are related to that search. Or something gets emailed to you, you get ads. Right. Now, imagine if Google took that information and really broke it down and sold it to third parties. Or they were to marketers, third-party marketers.
Right.
And they were like, oh, well, this guy looks like he really likes buying Fords, and I'm a Ford advertiser, so I'm just going to send this guy Ford ads, but not this Chevy guy, right? So that is sort of what happened with Cambridge Analytica, but imagine it on a political, psychologically manipulative level.
Right. So if I'm not typically psychologically manipulated, except for everything that I buy.
Right. So ads are, generally speaking, pretty effective. That's why it is one of the largest industries on the planet, right?
Right.
People always say, oh, people always said that Russian propaganda, they don't care about it because they're they buy the story that there was that building in St. Petersburg that was pumping out a bunch of political propaganda. They go, yeah, sure, but I'd recognize it. You wouldn't, right? You just wouldn't. This was a common theme. So Facebook, they deleted a bunch of pages that were identified as being Russian propaganda pages, and they sent a link to people who had shared stuff from those pages or were subscribed to those pages to let them know, hey, you shared or subscribed to pages that were Russian propaganda. Here's the list of them. And people lost their minds. They're like, Facebook doesn't know what Russian propaganda is. They just thought Facebook was wrong, right? That all this stuff that they had been...
which is super naive because Facebook has all the back end data to where this...
Yeah, they know exactly where it all comes from. Anyways, So back to Cambridge Analytica, finishing this real quick overview of it.
We don't do anything quickly.
So they took all that information from 50 million people, and they combined it with another data set that no one's quite sure right now where it came from. The theory is it was like a voter registration data set that also has personally identifiable information in it, and they munged them together, and Cambridge Analytica went, okay, here's all the people who are, going to vote for Trump. Here's all the people who, they put them in boxes, right? Here's who's going to vote for Trump. Here's who's on the fence. Here's who's a Hillary supporter. This was during the primary, so here's who's a Bernie supporter.
Right.
Here's who's a Ted Cruz supporter. All that stuff, right? And then they took the data and they broke the people into psychological profiles. I believe there was 9 boxes that they were put in, and then they would create the best ways to target them to get them to vote for Trump. So for people who were defined as being like militant pro-gun people, they would really talk about how how pro-gun Trump is and how anti-gun other people are, basically. They created ads about how Hillary was going to destroy the First Amendment and destroy the Second Amendment. And they would send those out to people who were classified as neurotic because they really respond well to fear-based advertising.
Right.
When Hillary wound up winning the nomination and Bernie lost, they were big on pushing that narrative that the DNC doesn't care about Bernie supporters. So, don't vote for Hillary. Their message was just don't vote for Hillary. And the whole crooked Hillary thing.
They took ownership of
that. Yeah. So we know this because in addition to The Guardian, so the whistle was blown at The Guardian, like the newspaper in the UK. Channel 4 was also made aware of this, and they're a television station also in the UK. They got one of their reporters to pose as a Sri Lankan who was like a campaign manager for someone who was running for president of Sri Lanka. I don't actually know. And they were looking to hire Cambridge Analytica, and so they were asking them like a lot of questions, like what do you guys do, how do you do it, like what references do you have, that sort of thing. And they sort of got moved up the chain, like, here's your low-level sales guy, and then like a high-level VP sales guy, and then the CEO gets brought in. And they all basically copped to everything. Like they were taking credit for the entire Trump campaign, first of all. And then so at one point the journalist had asked, what are you gonna, what would you do to my opponent? And they said, well, so like early on in the conversations, the story was, we're gonna get all the data, and we're gonna mine all the data, and we're gonna look for anything that we can use against your opponent, and if there's any dirt there, we'll leak it out onto the internet. And no one will know it comes from us. We're going to use like fake accounts and numbered companies, and we use I can't even think of the name of the software now. Like this email server where they can set self-destruct timers on the email, so you read it and then 2 hours later it just deletes itself, like that sort of thing. Right, so early on the story is, we're just going to find this, we're going to like leak it out into the world, right? But we won't do anything that could be defined as entrapment. That's like almost exactly what the guy said. And then the next conversation, the CEO is there, and the CEO is like, look, Jim here is like a master of disguise. We can set it up so he looks like a foreign investor. We'll send him to Sri Lanka and have him tell your opponent that he wants to invest a bunch of money into your campaign, but in exchange, he just wants like a deal on some land. And then we'll take that information and we'll put that we caught him red-handed taking bribes from a foreign land developer.
But that sounds like entrapment.
This sounds really illegal, doesn't it? Or and then they offered to like send like Ukrainian prostitutes and and a photographer to like catch the guy in flagrante with some Eastern European hookers.
So what I'm hearing is the whole tape with Trump like talking about rich women and how they can't help themselves and he just grabs them. That was all a setup.
Well, except Cambridge Analytica's on his side. So,
And
also they really, that was like 10 years ago, like 13 years ago.
Whose side are they really on? They're on their own side.
Well,
Like let's not pretend like they've got
no,
like
they're on the
allegiance.
side of the Mercers who paid them.
They're on, but that's the key. They're on the side of whoever will pay them.
Yes, and they were paid by the people backing the Trump campaign. The same
Right
people.
now, but 10 years ago they were on the side of
10 years ago, I don't think they existed.
Well,
They were founded in 2013.
so their former existence was
So 4 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, they worked on Ted Cruz's presidential campaign? And then
So-
they moved.
okay, so
They got
in
paid
all of
more to
this,
switch to
let's-
Donald Trump's campaign.
Let me ask you this. In what way does this all differ from regular advertising?
Well, because this is playing on people's psychological profiles. And
But
so-
that's exactly what advertising has always been.
Right, but this is very targeted. So what they would do is they would find like, there's 12 people in this county
Yeah.
who will respond to these ads, and they would
And-
just send them directly to them.
And I would still say that that's what advertising has always endeavored to do.
Oh, that's what
Know-
it endeavors to do.
know your
but
market.
there's
But-
laws against doing that.
No, well,
You can't
are there?
do. Well, you.
What
Well,
laws?
maybe there's
because
not laws
also
against that.
keep in
There
mind
should be.
advertising campaigns in California are very different than advertising campaigns in Texas because the markets are different. So advertising
true.
has always been
Oh, sure.
put the message that you want the person hearing to hear in front of that person. Like speak as specifically to your audience as possible.
Mhm.
So, I mean, playing devil's advocate a bit here, is it what makes this different than advertising, or is it only more focused advertising?
I would say the difference is the difference between persuasion and manipulation.
But again, good marketing, good advertising, there's market research, right? So how
Right.
is this different than market research, learning who you're going to be advertising to and then presenting the most persuasive argument to them that you can? You've just automated the process. So while you're thinking about that, the next question is, what, in my mind, where is the onus here? Do people just... Oh, Pam just like totally stole my thunder. Pam, right, just commented, people just need to learn to recognize what someone's motive is. And that's, that's exactly where I'm driving at, is do we take onus on ourselves to not trust everything that we see, or to understand that everything that we see is trying to persuade us of a specific point of view, and that we need to look outside of the social bubble that we're inevitably in.
Part of the issue with this sort of thing, and I don't know, I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of, if this wasn't targeted, right? Like if they weren't just sending the pro-gun stuff to the pro-gun people, and it was just wider, and they just sort of shotgunned all these messages out there.
So if they weren't as effective at doing their job,
No, well,
because their job is to advertise.
no, but what I'm saying, like, if they were doing it in a more traditional method, right, where they go, this is the messaging we want to get
Right,
out,
yep.
and we're just going to put it out there,
Yeah.
let's say regionally, as opposed to in a household,
Right.
right? I'm wondering if it would have been as effective
Absolutely
or less
not.
effective.
It would have been less effective. No argument there. So, but my question is,
Well, okay.
is this just doing a better job of advertising?
Well, I think we need to back up a second, because I don't know that it would be less effective, because the people who were getting some of this stuff. So the people who were like, pro-gun were probably going to vote Trump, or, they were going to vote Republican regardless.
Yeah.
And so people have this thing where they will believe anything if it fits their worldview.
Right.
Right? And so if that wasn't sent to their Facebook page, but instead they saw it on a billboard, that the Democrats are coming after our guns, as a for instance. Like, I don't know specifically what the messaging is.
But
would they not have just been sharing this amongst their social group anyway?
I think,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Am I asking that clearly?
Yeah, but I think the pro-gun people, even if they're already, I wouldn't be surprised if Cambridge Analytica would have been working both sides of the aisle, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people, like, they'd be idiots not to send ammunition to the Trump supporters,
Mm-hmm.
right? Share stuff to them that they can then share from different vectors.
Yeah. But so a lot of what they talk about is like in the hidden camera stuff is they do sort of talk about like trying to get stuff out there and making it look organic, right? So they're just going to release. No, I'm not. Mm-hmm. Right. So they're releasing stuff into like streams that these people are going to be in.
Yeah.
They could have done that without their personal information.
Right, but it's more effective with their personal information. Like you can target that much more precisely.
Yeah.
And that's all what marketing and advertising is. It's being as absolutely laser precise as you can so that you get the most effect.
Well, you want the most bang for your buck, right?
Right.
Like, so generally
that's
speaking,
how you're
looking at turnover, right? Like how much is my cost per customer?
So I think that people's initial reaction at all of this is a little bit upside down. I'm not 100% sure.
A lot of what they were doing, though,
right?
And admittedly, I guess this still falls under the realm of advertising because it's kind of hazy anyway.
Yeah.
But a lot of what they were doing was like extreme spin on stuff.
Sure.
To the point where it's,
is it misrepresenting?
It's maybe not a lie, but I would say it's likely misrepresenting. Right? Because if you say, like, okay, so like Democrats are always probably going to try to enact some sort of gun control.
Except that Obama never did.
He tried.
Did he?
Didn't he?
I didn't think he did.
I thought he did.
Oh, okay.
I know. I think he actually repealed the bump stock thing. I think that happened under him.
Once again,
he did other stuff.
We'll just make up our own facts.
At any rate, well,
okay.
The belief is that they're always going to try to enact something, right? So, but a lot, you take something like, they're going to like try to, let's say, change the age of how old someone. You have to be 21 to buy a gun instead of 18 now, right? Mm-hmm. They take that and they twist that as saying they're going to kill the Second Amendment. They take, like their position on political correctness, and they twist that to say they're trying to destroy the First Amendment.
But I think that's
that advertising? Or is that ethical?
Well, that's getting into the second part of the question here. It's advertising, and I think that's also beyond the bounds of what's ethical. I do think misrepresenting arguments is unethical. It's deceptive, and that I have a problem with more so than actually like specifically targeting the audience, right?
Okay, so you don't think that targeting these people based on personal information they glean from Facebook, you don't think that's unethical? You're okay with that?
I think I am.
Okay, so the fact that they got it in a less than ethical way. So I don't remember if I covered this. Yes. They did. I believe they did, and I'll explain why. So they got that researcher to request the information from Facebook. Now, he was allowed this information for academic, non-commercial use only. At some point, he informed Facebook that, hey, this isn't actually, like after the fact, after he was given permission
and collected
the data, he had a conversation with Facebook that basically went, yeah, this isn't academic only. There's commercial usage here. And then Facebook asked them to delete the data.
Right.
Now, Facebook didn't do a great job of this, admittedly, but they knew that they shouldn't have this information.
And that is a failing, and that's so. And I would go further than that, where I think, did they actually use it for any non-commercial use? Did they actually use it for any academic purpose?
Well, the guy writing a book is probably using it for his non-commercial use, but Cambridge Analytica absolutely did not.
Yeah, using that was a contractual breach, and for that there should be some consequences. That I do believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So but are you still okay with them targeting people if they're using, like let's say they stole the data? Like it's not a big stretch to make the comparison to had they hacked the data.
Yeah, and again, hacking that data, like that part of the thing, that part of the mechanic, I don't agree with. And if you're stealing data, like there should be prosecution regarding that.
Yeah.
If they're able to, acquire that personal information in a clever way,
legal ways,
a clever but legal way, that's just good advertising. Like that's doing your job really well. And really
I get that. To be clear, for those of you who don't know, I do actually work in marketing. So.
and even when it's like down to like categorizing and like specific targeting to the person, to the profile.
Yeah.
Like that's what good marketing and advertising does.
Yeah, I mean, any marketer would give his right arm
for that kind of
data.
Yeah. I have a bunch of right arms lying around.
Right.
Yeah, we have use for a bunch of extra.
So then this sort of as I have the videos. I was gonna set this up earlier and I forgot. So I have all those links are all the YouTube videos.
Oh, hey, look at this.
So we'll post them in the chat, and we'll if we remember, we'll post them as individual posts on our page. By the way, for those of you who do come to our page, if there's an article there that you see that you like, we would really appreciate it if you would share posts from our page.
Yeah, we want to be...
I've started just like a lot of the stuff that you see on there is stuff that I would normally post on my personal page, but now I've taken to posting it there and sharing that out. Just, if you like our show and just trying to get the word out, we'd really appreciate it. So as part of this, because Facebook was really involved in this, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the hashtag delete Facebook, or you've seen the articles about how Facebook stock is in a nosedive currently.
We personally love our Facebook overlords.
Well, I think we should have a discussion about that. But so like, how much blame do you put on Facebook for this? Like a lot of people are really angry at Facebook right now. So sort of,
what's the rationale for being angry at Facebook?
So they're calling it. A lot of people are calling it a data leak, and I guess it kind of is.
It's not a data leak. No, they asked for it. They said they were going to use it for academic purposes. Yeah. Like Facebook makes provisions for those.
Right, and so the issue that where people are seeing a failure here is so Facebook asked them to delete the data
once they became aware.
Once they became aware of the issue. They said, okay, you can't have it, you need to delete it. And they basically sent a form out saying, once you've deleted it, fill out this form, promising that you deleted it, and send it back to us. My understanding is that the researcher was actually also supposed to delete it, and he also did not delete it. He's one of the guilty ones.
See, so does Facebook not have now a lawsuit?
Oh, I think absolutely.
Like they can sue Cambridge Analytica, can't they?
I don't know, because they were technically under contract with like my understanding is the contract was with that researcher. He's the one that had the agreement with, like, I think they can go after him, but I don't know if they can go after them. Like, they did pay for it, so like I don't know how I'm sure a clever lawyer can somehow make that connection, but also a clever lawyer can break that connection apart. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see. I think that researcher is going to get in a bunch of trouble. Maybe.
I feel like Facebook is going to have more clever lawyers than the researcher does.
Right, but
the problem is researcher also doesn't have any.
Well, I'm just saying. So their lawyer is going to try to make a connection between, like, they want to go after Cambridge Analytica probably.
Oh, yeah.
But Cambridge Analytica are clever and they have really good lawyers,
Gotcha.
Probably. Right? And their guy is going to be like, no. Here's why you can't go after Cambridge Analytica. Anywho, so a lot of people are sort of seeing the failing of Facebook to follow up as a problem. Like, I think this is what people are calling the leak. Now, Jeremy's right. This isn't a data leak in the traditional sense of a data leak. This wasn't like bad security. This wasn't Equifax. Equifax had a data leak, right? Facebook in this particular case did not have a data leak. They were just lied to. And I mean, I guess you could argue it's like a form of social
engineering.
Jeez, my brain.
I'm good at your words today.
Yeah, so it's like as a form of social engineering, which is generally speaking how hacking works nowadays anyway. Where you tell someone a lie and they give you a bunch of data. Yeah. So I guess it kind of, maybe you could couch it as a data leak, but I don't really see it as a data leak. They trusted someone who they've already had an agreement with, who has been trustworthy up to that point, and then he was sort of convinced by a third party to pass a bunch of data along that he didn't have the right to pass a bunch of data along to. From the sounds of it.
Right. Not cool.
Based on what, we're hearing anyway.
Not cool.
So Alexander Nix, who's the CEO of Cambridge Analytica, was suspended yesterday, I think, when all these videos came out from Channel 4 and all the stories broke. Someone was quoted as saying that he doesn't represent the values of the company, which is... He's the CEO. He absolutely represents the values of the company. That's his job. It's like that's kind of all he does.
That's his.
And he does public speaking events.
Yes.
Pam rightly points out that it might be a good time to buy Facebook stock.
Could be. Depends how many people actually delete Facebook. I've been hearing a lot about it. I was going to send... Do you have Slack open right now? If I Slack you something, will you get it?
I'm not on our channel.
Oh. Okay.
It's all that preparing stuff that
we don't do.
I'll just message it to you.
We don't do.
Now I have to open Facebook, which is a problem.
Whew.
Yeah, so they lost more.
Not.
It was... I can't remember who it was compared to. That's a pretty big nosedive.
It's all relative. Come on. It went from 185 at the lowest. It looks like it was 162.
Oh, whoops.
So I mean, you don't sell at 162, but
okay.
We've missed our big buying window.
Jeremy would know.
Because they're not going away.
So I've just sent you the link.
Hey, I got a link.
So if you want to know how to delete Facebook, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that you do, but if you were interested in it, we'll post the instructions. It's actually really complicated. It takes a fair amount to actually delete your Facebook. You have to go find the link, and then you have to click it, and then you can't. If you log in within the next 6 days, it cancels the deletion process. And so you have to stay out of it for like a week, and then it could take up to 90 days for them to delete all of your data. Because they're taking 3 months to try to figure out how to monetize it, I guess. So this bears the question out. How many of you would consider deleting your Facebook because of this? And if you do, where do you think we should do our show? I'm thinking YouTube.
YouTube, Twitch.
I have a problem streaming to Twitch. I don't know what it like, not like a philosophical one, but an actual physical one.
Like technological problem?
Yeah, like it's so laggy. And I use the same settings, like, and it's probably just my settings, but I use the same settings for Facebook and YouTube,
Pepcac.
and it's fine, right? But I use those settings for Twitch, and it's garbage. Anyways, there's some food for thought for those of you who are thinking about things.
Whew. And with that, it's time to move on to the second half of our show. After this brief intermission. No.
Sure, whatever. We're taking an intermission for something now?
I don't know. We could implement an inter.
Okay, I gotta find words.
Pam's too hooked to quit Crackbook.
It's hard, right?
Seems like time for more bourbon.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for words.
You still got bourbon. That's better.
Sorry, I've been doing all this talking.
I know.
Oh.
Making room for my drinking. Good stuff. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. We need. Anybody want to write a theme song for Kickstarter Crystal Ball?
I should write one. I've got so many instruments at home.
I have a few.
I
have no time to.
I know what we should do. We should.
Are we migrating our show?
No, just for theme song stuff. I think.
Oh, for theme.
I have a really funny idea. I think we should get like a really crappy Casio little 32 key keyboard synthesizer thing. Something we can play with our hands.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess you play the xylophone with your hands. I don't know how you play the xylophone.
I play the xylophone with my hands.
Anyways, we could just play the songs live. Is my point.
That would be interesting. Hey, did we get rid of Amatemi?
No, it's still on the list. I have the wrong thing up on
It's
the screen.
gone. Did we already call that last week?
Is it done?
Yeah.
Oh, why is it not?
Done in zeros. What else we got here?
Oh, because it was done on the 17th. That's why it was still on the list. Okay, good. So that's done. So
Good.
next we've got
Nonsense.
The Outdoorsman, which is 17 days to go still.
Still looking
zero
for
days.
its inaugural backer.
If you guys want to back him for $500,000, you only got 17 days to do it.
What would happen if he actually got like $500,000 and somebody like...
I have no idea. If I was that guy, I would take the $500,000 and go to Bermuda, because that website's a terrible idea.
But he doesn't know that.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think he knows that. So he's going to take $500,000 and
try to, well, I mean, you can make a website for $40 now, right? So
I know. I know.
Because the $500,000 just kills me. So still at zero. Oh, this poor guy. Sons of Guns.
Sons of Ammo.
$130.
Still only has 2 backers.
Last week they were probably at $130.
I feel like that's probably true.
Don't know. I'll just put down 130 for that one. So they got 24 days still. Jeez Louise, guys.
Oish.
Amber,
All right.
the Alexa-enabled salt lamp, $270.
That is not gonna go.
How much time have they got left?
41 hours.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna go. And this is one of the ones I took a flyer on.
It's not even a big goal, and I think that's why you took a flyer on it.
Yeah, they weren't asking for a lot of money, so I thought it would go.
What is that, 2,500?
I could look at my spreadsheet, but yes,
2,500. I'm good.
Oh, actually, I wrote the wrong number down in here. Oh, 208 is what they had on their first day. Like, it's never changed.
No, because it's 2 people and their moms back them.
Yes, it's not the worst idea. Like, of the things we've seen, this is actually a relatively reasonable thing.
It's reasonable.
RSVP Skinnies, 927. Oh, wow. 712 out of 50,000. They have 37 hours to go. How much money did I say? 712.
They really missed the
This
formula.
Is another one you're getting right, and I'm getting wrong.
They missed the formula.
They could have got this because
They could have gotten 50,000.
Well,
That's so many backers, and you need to.
no, sorry, I take it back. I don't know why I said yes on this. Well, no, I do know why I said yes on this because this is a better deal than anywhere else. This is cheaper than Amazon and cheaper than their website.
That doesn't mean it's.
So I thought maybe.
But that only works if they've got already popularity,
yes, you're right.
which
You are right about
apparently
that.
they don't.
And that's one of those things that maybe I didn't think about.
Because it's a great, neat product. It's not a bad product at all.
Yeah.
It's just that they didn't drive any traffic here, and everybody that might have come here, exactly like you said, that it's just a store. So I would honestly, I'd go buy it on Amazon, even if it's cheaper here. I'd go buy it on Amazon before I bought it here because I don't have to wait for it.
Yeah. Sheesh, did you win both of those? You won Alexa. You won that one. Awful. All right. The Safety Professional. The note-taking thing. Did not make it.
It got a lot of support.
Was this? Okay.
That's a lot of backing.
So, oh man, why doesn't it give me the... Oh right, this was in Canadian. That number makes sense. This is basically where they were week one. They only made like $1,000, not even. They were at 62,590.
They got all of that week one. Wow.
Yeah, day one they were at 1,010, and then they bumped up to almost 63,000, and now they're just over 63,000.
All right.
Done. Because they didn't go. Did either of us? Why did I do that? It's 3 for you.
I'm categorically against. The stupid thing is, I misread that, and I saw that to be safety professional,
That's why you voted against
and
it?
I was against safety.
Oh, sure. I get that. Oh, it's the ouch.
Oh, that is not going to make it.
Probably not.
Probably not. Although they still have time to pull some sort of targeted marketing campaign together.
How did they go down in money? Is this the one where I think I... Oh, right, because it's in SEK. Okay. So they actually made
Section.
5 more bucks. 124. Not watts.
Not lots.
The restaurant that runs without electricity. 38 last week.
Oh,
they were-
this stupid hippie
Same
hippie
one?
restaurant.
Yeah, still 21 pounds. This isn't. 15 days to go. I'll be shocked if this goes. They've made nothing.
That's a silly one. Pod, the pet crate, which like demolished its.
Crushed it.
Yeah, we knew. We don't need to.
Yeah, we can take this one off the list, I think.
Yep.
And we both said
Teklo.
yes.
The pet mauling automatic litter box.
Yeah, this thing's funny. Sorry, I'm just doing some house cleaning here. Teklo.
Housekeeping.
1055. Sort of that actually. 661. Number sounds familiar. Oh, weird. They made a pound from week 1.
That doesn't seem right.
661.
Someone pledged £1.
Looks like it. You literally can't even do that. I don't know how they did that.
That's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't.
I have 660 from last week.
I call into question our accounting.
Oh, very reasonable. I don't blame you for that at all.
Yeah, this not German engineering, even though it's coming from Germany.
45 days to go. Yeah, they aren't gonna go.
Meh. Popcorn. I like popcorn, but this is a bad app. I know I talked it up last week.
I have less money. Oh, no, I take that back. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong row. I was really confused. I was like, how did that happen?
Someone took away
There's 0. Yeah, they're still at 0. Oh, I don't have Benidorm's Day 1 money. I hope it was 0. Yeah, it was. I know it was. So that's
What is Benidorm still at 0?
nope, they're at 55.
Yeah, they got a couple
35
backers.
pounds.
How?
It might have been that last week. I don't know. I don't know.
6 of his friends, or is there any clarification as to what this is? Do we know? Is it like renting other people's beds?
No,
Is it?
There's a comment. So someone commented. Oh right.
Oh, that was there.
Right. So this
also
this is probably
an
55.
handsome boy.
Yes. Someone's mom or grandma.
Italian grandma.
All right. So you ready for this week's the new one?
Money taco.
The money taco. It's a fuel gauge for your money. So we have to be careful playing these because last week, you don't know this. Last week, when we were done, I got a notification from Facebook saying that they weren't going to post the video.
Oh.
Because there was basically a copyright strike.
Oh.
So I think it was the song from the popcorn commercial.
Oh, that could be. Because that was an awesome song.
Yeah, it did actually give me the name of the song, but I didn't bother to Google it. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, though, because that's the only song that we played for a long period of time. So I still posted it because it does say if you believe it's under fair use, then you can post it. And it is under fair use. So I'm not concerned about it, but just this could be a problem posting to YouTube, and if we have to move to YouTube because all of our viewers delete Facebook, that could be a real issue for us.
Pam says she's not deleting Facebook.
Well, I guess we're just going to be on Facebook.
We're fine.
All right, so let's play this. And, yeah.
Hi, I'm Justin Silva, and this is Money Taco. Money Taco exists to help anyone who wants to improve in managing their daily financial situation. If you've ever asked yourself any of the following questions: how much money do I have right now? Why is saving for emergencies so difficult? How can I not live paycheck to paycheck? Then I made this product for you. While there are many apps that promise to help you manage your money better, Money Taco simply provides you the situational awareness you need to make better financial decisions. It's like a fuel gauge for your bank account. There's a one-time setup where you select your bank, support most banks, and then log into your bank account to authorize Money Taco to use your bank account. On the back of your Raspberry Pi, connects to your bank account, grabs your account balance, and then displays it on your Money Taco. Like a fuel gauge, the light all the way on the left means that this is your minimum account balance. 10 lights lit all the way to the right means your maximum account balance. So it determines where your balance is placed inside of there and lights up that many lights. For example, if your minimum was $1, your maximum was $3,000, you can set this in the app. Your balance would be, if your balance is $2,800, then it would light up 8 lights. My hypothesis here is that if people can obtain a higher situational awareness of their money, then managing it won't be so difficult. After building a few early prototypes to test this theory, I've really started to see the value in this unique product. My goal right now is to test the concept on a larger scale now that I know it works.
Is the math on that right?
The math was what you're concerned about?
Well, no. It's a concern. Just because he said your minimum was $1, your maximum was $3,000. If you're at 2,800 of 8 lights, that should be 9 lights. There's 10 lights, right? No, I guess
2,800
yeah, of 3,000.
of 3,000.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it should be 9 lights.
So yeah, it should be 9 lights. At any rate, that's the least of this product's problems, I think. So you can sort of see, we can take a look at the prototype gallery real quick here. It's just a piece of wood with some LEDs and a Raspberry Pi in the back of it that needs a constant internet connection, so it can constantly pull data from your bank that you have given it your login information to. So, given that we've just had a very long conversation about Facebook and data and Cambridge Analytica, do you trust your bank login information to a half circle of wood with a Raspberry Pi double side taped to the back of it? No, I get this is a prototype, and God, I hope they use whatever money they're asking for industrial designer.
That's all right. I'm not sure the security necessarily bothers me because I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah, online banking APIs are going to be fairly secure.
Yeah.
Like there will be connection security that should be able to handle that. What do you think of the concept?
I like it. It makes sense.
It's curious to me. Like, this is where do you look at this thing? Like, do you put it on like the dashboard of your car, or
He just has it like on his desk.
you've got it like at home?
Yeah.
So it's like you go out for the day and you like spend money and you come home and you can see sort of where.
Yeah. Actually, this brings up a good point. This actually would kind of be cooler if it was like a fob for your keychain or something. And then you'd always have it with you, like while you're out and about. And you can just look at it and sort of see like sort of where you're at, I guess, money-wise.
Gas gauge,
Yeah.
key fob.
Yeah, like that's sort of how he describes it.
Yeah.
You know, if you had to use a mobile app to check how much fuel you had in your car, you'd be running out of gas all over the place, which is, relatively sort of
that
true.
actually.
It's not a
I'm not sure I
terrible
can't refute that.
Yeah, it's not a terrible analogy. I mean, I have the way I do it with my bank is I just have levels set up where if my money dips below a certain point, I get an email saying, "Hey, you've got less money than this now." Which is really frustrating if that happens way before payday. And then every time I spend something, I get an email reminding me that I've dropped below this level. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm aware that I'm below the threshold.
I just use my card, and when my allowance account runs out, the card stops working.
I don't have an allowance account. I just have a bank account. Well, I've got like 3 bank accounts, but
How do you have any money left?
it used to be a real big problem for me.
Yeah, so definitely financial maturity is a
I would have like
complex issue.
That would have been great for me years ago.
This is.
I mean, I could probably still use it in all honesty.
This is an interesting thing. Yeah, the concept. I'm not sure the iteration that he's on is what it needs to be.
That's what he's asking for. I don't even know.
It's a lot of money.
100,000.
He's asking for $100,000.
He's not gonna get this.
Well, he's got 2 months to get it.
He's not gonna get it.
I agree. What's he going to use the 100,000 for? Good grief! Where's the
His risks and challenges are terrible.
That's a good point. That it won't yield the same amazing results it already has for my 10 early adopters. Assuming that it's yielded amazing results for those 10 early adopters, yeah, that's a big risk that nobody else finds it useful. That he's found the only 10 that are excited about this product.
Yeah. Like I don't think he's really thought through the risks and challenges of this.
No,
like,
he hasn't.
Like this is a dumb risks and challenges. I think the concept is good.
Yeah.
He needs to. The prototype is god awful. Like he's got a.
Well, there's got to be an interface for it, if not an app?
Well, there is an app.
Okay.
Because you can set your thresholds, right? So you set
Right.
your upper and your lower bounds in the app. But you want something, his point is you want something that's like constantly telling you.
Right, but
how
the
much
thing
money
is,
you
like,
get.
I'm never at home. Like, I'm at home when do I put it on my nightstand, and when I leave for the day, I see how much money I've got, and...
Yeah, like for people who are out and about a lot, this is a less useful form factor, which is sort of why I was getting at having something that's more like a key fob or something you would have with you all the time.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
you can stick in your pocket.
But, I mean, we've got connectivity questions then, no doubt.
Oh, certainly.
And also, he says he worked through a number of prototypes.
Did he say that? And this is what he ended up on? Was a
Like, how did
taco?
you end up with Money Taco?
I'm sure it sounded funny too. Receive a... All right, well, let's go for the pledges real quick. Buck gets you a thank you. $10 gets you inside information about the status of the project, along with early access to pre-order your Money Taco before it goes public.
not gonna be-
Estimated delivery December. Pledge $100 or more, a fully functional prototype.
Whoa, functional prototype. Those are the only levels he's got?
Yeah.
What the crap?
This is already a functional prototype. Right?
So you get one of the wooden Money Tacos?
God, I hope not. Like, the edging on that is garbage. I can tell by looking.
My junior high shop teacher would have had stern words.
Like, this dude needs to buy a router. I don't think he owns one. I get that. Not everyone has a router. But good
I
news
have a
is
router.
they spend. They cost less than $100,000. They spend less.
Yeah.
Peanut Gallery, what do you guys think? You guys like the Money Taco? Like I say, I think the concept is good, but the form factor is garbage. Hot garbage. But yeah, he needs something that you can keep in your pocket.
How do you connect to it then?
I mean, if it's got Wi-Fi, there's a lot of public Wi-Fi, but you'd have to have an interface to be able to connect to
Yep.
those things. Yeah, you could Bluetooth it to your phone and tether it to your phone.
Bluetooth tether?
Yeah, can you do that? I think you can.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
I'll say you can.
that sounds technically viable to me. We are technology professionals.
Just because we haven't done it. Huh. Pam says I have TD MySpend.
Yeah, but you have to like log into an app, right? Pam?
I don't know. We're gonna go.
It's like I can just log into my account. Actually, I don't think my bank has an app.
Spending notifications, trackers. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, like I literally just
but
set up email.
I'm not. This is. Yeah, she says it's like Money Taco except way better. And from what I've seen there, Pam, you don't have to log into it every time you open it, right? You open the app and it gives you just information right there. I'm assuming, from what I saw in the screenshots.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna make all
he's
kinds of
sort of implying that you shouldn't have to pull out your phone and open an app to see how much money you have. Which
Again,
I get.
pulling out a fob and taking a look at it. It's like it's nothing.
Right, but
if
that's probably how he ended up with the taco. He's like, we can't have it in your pocket. It has to be somewhere you can see it. Like, I'm
Maybe.
surprised. He should have made this like a clock. So you'd hang it on your wall. You'd know what time it is and how much money you have.
Well, you don't want it to be. I don't know that you want it to be too exacting. Like,
You can still only have 10 dots on it.
and
Yeah,
not
you
not
could.
have them labeled.
You have 12 dots on it.
Okay.
So you can use them for time and for tracking how much money you have. He just has to divide stuff by 12 instead of 10 now. Which he might have already been doing.
Have it like the doomsday clock.
Yeah.
It's counting down to broke.
And the good news is, if people don't know what your limits are, they can't They don't really know how much money you have
Yeah,
either, right?
and that's what I was getting at is. I personally like.
Man, I almost wish I could send him an email to suggest the clock form factor to him. I think that's way better than the money taco.
Having to be a money clock?
Yeah. Yes. That's way better than the money taco.
Money taco,
Like, yeah, it sounds funny.
I get that
it's
it
a
sounds
catchy
funny.
name.
It's not a catchy name. It's a funny name, and the two are
that's true.
There's a difference between the two. The two are not the same.
I'm eating cookies now.
Yeah, it's a good white Oreo day. I'm gonna say he's not gonna get it though.
Oh, that's so either. All right. So sorry, he's asking for 100,000 American.
Mm-hmm.
He's got. What do you have? I'm just being lazy.
209. 161.
Thank you. 161.
U.S. Yeah.
That's a weird number.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, whoops. Man, I have this form set up weird. All right, that's on me. Okay, so you don't think he's going to get it. I also don't think he's going to get it.
Negative.
Do you think this is the right thing for Kickstarter?
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is a great project for Kickstarter. This is it's a great idea. It's thinking about solving problems.
Yeah.
Because I do think financial idiocy is a problem.
I know it to be true.
If I didn't have
I'm a financial dum-dum.
stuff set up to automatically go into investments and savings every payday, I wouldn't have any investments or savings.
Yeah.
Wouldn't happen.
All right. So all in all, I think the design of this is atrocious. Great idea. I wish there was a better way to make it more portable, though.
Yeah, it needs more product development before he asks for $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But I just think it's too much money. I think if he asks for 10,000, he might get 10 grand, maybe.
Yeah, you might get 10 grand. That would be good.
It's a neat enough concept. Anywho, that brings us to the end.
We're done.
Of the show.
We're done early today,
We are done early today.
which is good because I'm supposed to be flying tomorrow morning. I gotta get my beauty sleep.
All right, so Jeremy's got to sleep for about 15 hours. Zing.
Yeah. That, like, not even in my wildest dreams. Like, that's too amazing to think could ever happen.
Man,
Hey, did you record today?
No. No. I checked just before we got into the Kickstarter crystal ball, and I was like, I totally forgot to. I got distracted by
Sorry,
the fact
YouTube.
we had no sound.
No sound.
They'll get something. They'll get the download from Facebook. Well, which actually is a great point. If you're watching this on YouTube, and you're watching this in like standard definition, like a peasant, you can watch us in high def live every Wednesday. Facebook.com/Bourbon and Zeppelins, 8 p.m. Mountain Time.
Ish.
Well,
Where the cameras turn on at 8, we may or may not be in front of them.
yeah. Well, we had a couple weeks where we were late, and then we had a
that's
couple
true. We
weeks
had
where we
delay.
just didn't have a show. But we're trying to have at least solo shows if we can't both make it.
We'll get something up there for you.
Yeah. If you want to check us out on Twitter, it's twitter.com/BNZ show or BNZ show.
If you're in the States.
If you want to check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/Bourbon and Zeppelins.
Or Bourbon and Zeppelins if you're in the States.
Yep. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Let your friends know that they should also subscribe to the channel. Steal your kids' phones and subscribe to the channel on their phones. We know that works. We just need about 100 of you, and then we can get an actual URL. If you are watching this on some other platform that's not YouTube, and you're wondering how to find us on YouTube,
Please come to YouTube.
please search Bourbon and Zeppelins, and we are, I think, #1. Yep, it's just us. If you search for Bourbon and Zeppelins, at the top, that's our channel.
We're the only channel called Bourbon and Zeppelins. We've
That
got
is-
12 subscribers, which means we need 88 more subscribers to hopefully get a URL. And
Yeah, unless YouTube changes the rules before we get 100 subscribers, which
is entirely likely.
very possible. Who knows? Man, we are chock full of energy at the end of this show. And we're done early.
I know.
I'm just bagged. I'm looking forward to...
My bed.
Well, I'm not looking forward to your bed.
I'm
Take
not-
that back. Take that back. All right, next week, next Wednesday, whole new show.
We'll see who's here.
Hopefully we don't got to talk about guns. Hopefully
we're
we
going to
don't
have
talk
to,
about
actually.
Cambridge Analytica. We can talk about Canadian politics, because that's fun.
Hey, there's some fun stuff coming there too.
Yeah, we changed our gun laws in Canada, or we're trying to change our gun laws in Canada again, to make them stricter-ish.
I thought we already had pretty strict gun laws.
We do. Well, they're changing some rules that, like some things are things that places already do. It's just they don't have to, but now they would have to. And I don't even remember what the other stuff was. But it's barely changes, to be totally honest. But yeah, it's if you want to get your firearms license in Canada or buy a gun, it's just going to get a little more complicated. A little harder to do. Anyways, Bourbon Zeppelins, I was going to say .com, don't do that. Facebook.com/Bourbon and Zeppelins. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Mountain time.
Mountain time. Be there or be square, or don't be there at all. All right, bye.